But is this really the highest priority? This is the most important thing facing the American people? The most important thing that Paul Ryan can be leading the charge on? Let's spend some money and fix some highways. Translation, let's approve a bunch of spending, most of which is going to get wasted, while part of it actually goes to what it's intended to do, and the highways continue to remain in a perpetual state of need of repair. That's what he chose to work on first. We have Hillary Clinton that is still apparently on a fast track to the White House right now, based on the fact that somehow or another, once again, despite some of the most smug and most ridiculous responses during the Benghazi hearing, she comes out Teflon, non-stick. Nothing's going to get hung on me. And now there's even talk about how the intelligence agencies are claiming that her emails were not classified or branded as top secret now. What? We found how many previously that clearly were, but now we're being told, oh, well, sorry, our bad. No. It can't be true. Something else is happening there. There is no way so many people were so certain about what they saw, and then all of a sudden now, by edict from on high, that's just not the case. You've got to be kidding me. So Paul Ryan decides it's going to be the highway bill. That's the first order of business. Okay, well, let's for a second give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, any smart guy wants to be a good leader, knows that you have to set team goals that are achievable. So, fully benefit of the doubt here. Let's say for a second that, okay, this is how I'm going to establish my speakership style. And I'm going to start out with a track record that's going to build some goodwill, both with the Republicans who normally would stand against something that the Democrats would be okay with, and with Democrats, because generally speaking, if it involves spending money that they can go back to their constituents and say, hey, look what I did for you, now vote for me again, then they'll be on board. So maybe this is a politics as usual move where it's not necessarily his highest priority, but he's thinking in terms of establishing himself as somebody who can get something done, building a little more political capital and building a little bit of a coalition so that he can move more important stuff later. Now, is that what's actually happening? I don't know, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But if that is the case, then he needs to move quickly 1, 2, 3 more bills along those same lines so that he can actually build some relationships across party lines so he can move some real legislation shortly thereafter. Because there are some important things going on that the House needs to get involved with, including, once and for all, taking control of the purse strings the way the Constitution set up our government to do in the first place. I'm going to take a real quick break. And in the meanwhile, we're going to talk a little bit about the weight of the world, because that's what Paul Ryan has on his shoulders right now. Now, we're not going to talk about that, but that is the title of the song. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
You can Tap Into the Truth. Check us out at tapintothetruth.com for our latest blog post and for links to all of our past broadcasts. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and to follow us on Twitter. That's Tap Into the Truth right here on Spreaker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and that last song there is She Lies, and I like to play that as long as Hillary Clinton is in the news, which, you know, during the presidential campaign, that's a lot. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show today. In case I haven't mentioned it to you before, I'm very happy to have you listening. This is a part 2 broadcast that actually started on a different platform, had some technical issues, part of which was my fault, part of which was not, but it kept me from getting the entire broadcast out. So there was a couple of things that were important enough that I wanted to finish. There was a link for those of you that are listening on this platform that you can follow, a link in the show description to hear the first part. But I did basically a recap for those of you who would not be. If you wanted to hear the rest of what I had to say, please go back and listen. If the recap was enough for you and you're tired of that, well, then I'm surprised you're still listening at this point. But thank you just the same. I really do appreciate the listeners. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to listen in. The broadcast actually, right now I'm averaging right about 1 million listens a week. Now that's still small potatoes compared to a lot of podcasts that are out there, so I'm certainly not bragging, but by the time I look at what gets played at the other, easy for me to say, the other platform that I primarily use to broadcast at, what gets played here, what gets played throughout the other outlets like iTunes, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, Podcast.com, a bunch of the other places where I'm currently syndicated to. By the time all those get tabulated and added together, including older episodes and newer episodes, it's about 1 million plays a week, and it's been there consistently now for several months. So thank all you guys who listen, and thank you very much for sharing the show. There's no way that many people are listening without it being shared. And it's difficult to kind of keep track of where everybody and everything's getting done. So just blanket thank you, no matter where you're listening to this show from, no matter how you're listening to it, whether it's over an app on your phone, or if you're listening by your computer, or if you're in your car and you've got internet radio in your car, wherever you're listening from. Even if you disagree with me with 99% of what I say, and you're only listening to hear what crazy thing I'm going to say next, thanks for listening. I just can't say it enough, because I can't adequately express to you how much I really appreciate the fact that you are. In the meanwhile, going to continue. Was talking about Paul Ryan before the break and his apparent highest priority, what his agenda was. Okay, and I played off a best case scenario, giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I'd really like to do that. Like I said, I lost a lot of respect for Paul Ryan when he started trying to cut our veterans in some of the budget proposals he offered. I lost a lot of that respect, not just because of the fact that he was cutting the veterans, but also what he was trying to do with the money that he took from the veterans. He was trying to give it away to people who should not even be in the country, because they didn't come here legally. So I have my concerns, and maybe I'm still just being a little too Pollyanna in trying to give the benefit of the doubt, but I find myself still doing that. Because I'm constantly faced with this idea in the back of my head, and somebody else must be thinking the same thing, because I saw it in a meme this past week, and I thought that is probably the best meme. I'm thinking about introducing a new segment to the show, by the way, Meme of the Week, because it seems like every week there's some really great ones that come out that are worth being noteworthy. But this particular one, the meme said something that I've been thinking for a long time. It concerns me, it scares me, but it showed, if you're familiar with the Andy Griffith Show, showed Don Knotts as Barney Fife and Andy Griffith as Andy Taylor. And Andy was whispering to Barney, what if there's no conspiracy? What if everyone in our government really is that stupid? Kind of scary, isn't it? I don't know which thought would be scarier, quite honestly. It's not like it's scary stuff, period, in the discussion. And that's about as scary as it gets. But anyway, when I'm thinking in terms of things that the American people need, I'm thinking right now, first and foremost, of what he should have tackled at the very beginning is Obamacare. Never mind the fact that the Republicans promised to deal with Obamacare, to defund it, to repeal it, to replace it. Not a fan of the replacement idea. In my opinion, and of course it is just that, it's an opinion. Take it for what it's worth. And just understand, it's just an opinion. But in my opinion, we would be far better off, healthcare-wise, affordability-wise, if we let free market forces work. Now, the free market is all but gone completely within the United States at this point. Make no mistake about it. We've had a socialist Marxist regime in power for over 7 years now. And it has decimated the very concept of true free market economy. We've had administrations in the past that have interfered with the free markets to the point that you can't really say that we've had a true free market economy for a very long time. And I don't want to bore you if you're not into economics, and if you are into economics, you probably already know everything that I'm saying, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going down details or hampering or even whining about it. But the bottom line is, true free market's gone. But you want to talk about affordability of healthcare, there are certain things that can be done that the government can just get out of the way that would drive prices down. First and foremost, if you want to look at just the expense of insurance, and I know you've all heard these before, let's change the portability, let's lower the barriers that stand in the way in the competition in multiple states so that these companies can actually fight over those dollars with one another. That kind of competition drives prices down. Let's apply some common sense to the idea that we do not need to go to the doctor every time we get a hangnail. So we do not need to be paying for policies that will cover everything from major catastrophic all the way down to the hangnail. We just don't need it. We need to be able to pick and choose what coverages we want, and we need to be able to go back to doing what we were doing before. Now, insurance wasn't affordable and available for all citizens of this country. I understand that. But if you want to fix it, you have to affect how insurance is going to be operating the business side. Right now, we're facing the very real possibility of a lot of people who managed to get themselves covered, possibly for the first time, the first year or two of Obamacare. And now they're seeing why so many of us had called it from the very beginning the Unaffordable Health Care Act. Or even more poignantly, the Unaffordable We Don't Care Act, because the people who passed this didn't give a rat's backside about your health care. If they did, they wouldn't have started with insurance.